Hi, second graders. This is Mrs. Padilla. I'm here today to talk to you about data. This week in math, you're going to be using data, and I think most of you will like it. We'll be learning about using tally marks to show data, using pictographs to show data, and there's many other ways that you can do that. So here we go. I'm getting ready to start a little presentation that might help us out. And it goes like this. Here's a graph that shows our favorite fruit. So as you can see, the graphs will tell you a little bit about what is happening. This type of graph is a bar graph, and it tells you on the side the number, how many of each of the different types of fruit there are. And then there's a line that's colored in that shows exactly how many for each one. For example, the pears has 2 boxes colored in, so that means there were 2 pairs. And here we go. You can tally marks. This is all about tally marks. These little things here that you see in the picture are called tally marks. You can take a survey and ask people different questions like what is their favorite color, or what is their favorite ice cream, or maybe their favorite pizza topping. And you can record the information you get from them with tally marks. Tally marks helps you remember exactly how many votes you got for each question you asked. And here it shows you an example on the bottom of 12 tally marks. So every time you do it, you put a line down, another line, another line, another line, till you have 4 lines straight down, and then you have a diagonal line that crosses over, and that's how it bundles 5. So for example, in the picture over here, there's a lot. If you were going to count them one by one, it would take you a long time. But because we know they're in bundles of 5, you can count by 5s, like this. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 66, 67. So our picture of tally marks shows 67 tally marks. All right, so here's another example of a graph where they used tally marks to show information. As you can see by the pictures, there's 2 birds. The first one over here is a sparrow, and the other one is a robin. On the side, it names days of the week, and it tells you how many birds they saw on each of the different days. So you can use the information represented by tally marks to answer questions like, how many birds were seen on Friday? If we look at Friday, we add 1 plus 5, and you would get 6. Our next question is, how many birds were seen on Wednesday and Monday? So we look over here. On Wednesday, we see 1, 2, 3. On Monday, we see 2 and 1 more, another 3. So we can add 3 plus 3, and we know there were 6 birds seen on Wednesday and Monday. Another question you might see is something like this one. Were there more sparrows or robins seen this week? To answer that question, we have to add 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 2 to answer how many sparrows were seen, and then 5 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 to figure out how many robins were seen. And now we know there were 14 sparrows and 12 robins. So were there more sparrows or robins seen this week? Well, we know by counting our tally marks, there were definitely more sparrows. This type of graph is called a picture graph. The picture graph that we see here in the example tells about favorite pizza toppings. And you can see on the side, they have cheese, mushroom, sausage, and pepperoni. I'm wondering what kind you like. I like pepperoni and mushroom put together, but that's not one of the choices. Something that's very important when you're looking at a graph is to pay attention to the key. So let's make over here. A picture graph uses pictures to show data. The key tells how many each picture stands for. Here on the bottom you see is the key. And in this case, each slice represents 5 pizzas. So that's quite a few pizzas we have here. If we're going to count by 5s, we can tell, for example, the mushroom pizzas, there were 5, 10, 15, 20 people who like mushroom toppings on their pizza. All right, here is another example of a pictograph. In this one here, you can see that it's talking about fruit. And the key up here says that one smiley face means one child. So it's about favorite fruit, that's the title. This side, down the side, they had a choice of apples, banana, strawberry, pear, and grapes. Look at the picture graph and let's answer the questions. Which fruit was chosen by the fewest children? Well, looking over here, it's pretty clear to see pears. Then we can look for the fewest smiley faces, and that's how you know which one was chosen by the fewest children. How many more children chose bananas than apples? We look over here, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children chose bananas. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children chose apples. So if we subtract 7, take away 5, our answer is 2. 2 more children chose bananas instead of apples. Okay, and our last question here says, which 2 fruits were chosen by a total of 5 children? Now, to answer that question, you'd have to decide, could I add grapes and pear? That looks like too many. Pear and strawberry, that looks right. But wait a minute, apple has 5. Oh no, the question said which 2 fruits were chosen by a total of 5 children. So we need to pick 2 that would add up to 5. I can see that if I do strawberry and pear, I would have 3 plus 2, which equals 5. That would answer the question. Now, I'm going to do a graph with you. To do this graph, I am going to use Legos. We'll pick out different colored Legos, and we will use a smiley face, because look down here for the key, it says each smiley face stands for 1 Lego. So here I go, I'm mixing them up, and I picked out a red, and then a yellow, and now I'm picking out another red, and then I'm going to pick another one, and I have a yellow. Here we go, Mr. Yellow. And let's see, that looks equal, but I don't have any of the others, so I'm hoping I'll get some blue or green. Oh, yay, here's my green. And let's see, oh my goodness, there's quite a few yellows here. And let's mix them around. Oh, yay, finally I got a blue. So now I have a blue also. So you can see how we fill in the graph as we get our choices. Now, let's review. You can use tally marks when you collect data. For example, keeping track of how people answer a question. Put a little mark. When you get to the fourth one, you do a fifth diagonal slash. You can use pictures to represent data in a picture graph, like the smiley faces that we saw or the little pieces of pizza. Those are pictures that represent data. You also need to look carefully at each graph to determine what it is really showing you. The graph will give you a lot of information if you look at it carefully. And finally, you need to read each question carefully to determine what it is asking. Make sure you understand the question before you try to solve it, because sometimes you'll be adding and sometimes you might be subtracting. Have fun this week on your data, and I hope it goes well for you. I think you'll do just fine. Bye, second graders.